Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and we are back. And we are back into the Netflix series Squid Challenge The Games, and we are now on episode 4, and it is called Nowhere to Hide. Get the title, Nowhere to Hide, because there's nowhere to hide when it comes to this test now in the dormitories. Anyway, before we get into it, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos, and let's get into this episode, shall we? Now, this is the part where people will start to think, either one, strategically, or number two, spitefully, just to get people out of there, because in their own heads, as in 141, can't remember what his name was, but 141, he believed that Chiney, a young black woman, lovely young black woman, was running around being the head of this alliance, basically. She was just being friends with people, but being the head of this alliance, and he decided that he wanted to cut the head off the snake. Now, I don't know if it was because he did not feel included in that at all, and that he then had to start running his mouth left, right and centre in regards to what's going on. But then you do have some people like that, but it seems as though the extreme personalities of some people is starting to be shown within this hemmed up environment, let's just put it that way. So basically, we know that the keypad has been placed into the room. They all had 30 minutes to decide on which people they're going to enter into this keypad for potential elimination. V came forward, as I said, basically trying to tell people what they should do, got people together as a group, and then said that maybe they should do X, Y, and Z. And people were like, well, no. And I'm like, this is it. At the end of the day, people will have the opportunity to choose who they want to choose. That didn't need no confab. So who decided to place the doctor there to say, I'm the one with the common sense, because that's how he was playing it. He thought he was the professional. He's the consummate professional. So he thought everybody will listen to him, because at the end of the day, everybody's listening to him when he's giving them breathing techniques or exercise techniques in order to calm themselves in high stressful and impactful situations. Now he thinks because he's been doing that with people and been taking on board his instruction, that people are going to get together and take on aboard his instructions again. No, didn't work out for you, did it, doctor? No, because people were thinking you were so far up your own butt that you just needed to shut the hell up. Yeah, because everybody was kind of like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Who am I going to pick? Why am I going to pick this person? Why am I going to pick that person over this person? What will I do if someone picks me? Everybody was boom, 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 boom. Thoughts were everywhere. You could see this, that it was proper becoming everyone was becoming displaced in there. So you got the ones that don't usually make a show will literally just be saying, well, hoping no one would pick them, because you know they will stay further back into the background. But that's what one person thought. But the problem with that is other people were kind of watching, like, if you're like me, I'm a people watcher, so you're kind of watching the dynamics of what's going on within those kind of surroundings, and you can see who are the people that get together and the people that you literally want to break up as well. So this is what was happening at this point in time. So as it was, you had the two women, Mumsy, and I can't remember the other woman's name, but I will at some point, was in the kitchen, and they were cutting up apples, and they were just cutting up a bowl of apples, being nice to everybody, and then they brought out the apples, yeah, to give to people. And then you got Lorenzo saying, oh, I'm not taking it, because he got hella suspicious. And then he was really rude to Mumsy, and I thought, you're gonna knock yourself in being rude to Mumsy at the end of the day, because you just fucked yourself over by at that point possibly eliminating yourself, Lorenzo, because your mouth don't shut at the end of the day. All you could have said was, nah, I'm okay, thank you though, and moved it along. But no, you had to be hella rude in that process of it. So now time is up. Everybody has to stand in a line in front of this keypad. I'm telling you, it's like prison. It is like prison in there. Like, these people are confined and they have to follow the rules of this unknown entity, because you don't see the person who is the voice, the man or the woman. You don't see the person, all you hear is the voice. And they know they have to be attention and be on tenterhooks when the people in pink come in. And it's kind of like, when you're out in the world, you listen to people, like when you're in your job or when you're at school or when you're doing X, Y, and Z, because they're in a chain of command. That's how you see it. You're in a chain of command. But in certain situations, you're a little bit more relaxed. But in this situation, the way that they're like hemmed in to this one environment, they're not relaxed in the slightest, and you can see it all over them. So as I said, the lineup, and basically what they have to do is type in the person's number, and whoever you've picked, their picture, if they've not been picked already, their picture comes up on the board. So the first person who will type in a number, you're going to get called out, because the picture's hella going to go on the board, so you're going to get called out. Okay, so the first person who came on the screen was 374. And the reason why 374 came up on the screen is because he kind of fucked himself over, because he was going around telling people that, you know, I think he's gone as far as he can do, and he's really missing his family and he wants to leave, yada, yada, yada. Basically, he was trying to do reverse psychology, thinking nobody would take him seriously and people would probably keep him in even longer because he wants to go. No, that plan didn't work for you. And then he realized when his name went up on the board first, he had fucked up. Okay, don't try reverse psychology in them type of environments. It ain't gonna work for you. It really is not going to work for you unless you can literally manipulate someone to your way of thinking, especially in those confines. Then don't do reverse psychology on people, because it's just going to blow up in your face, as 374 found out. So Mumsy went up and she chose Lorenzo, and I knew she was going to choose Lorenzo, which is 161. I knew she was going to choose Lorenzo because he was rude. He was hella rude about the apples. Now, I still would have chose Lorenzo, because I would have still been miffed about the stealing of the food and the hiding of the food and any other shit that he'd done in there as well. So I would have put Lorenzo too. So then Lorenzo's names come on the thing, and he was like, oh, okay. So now you know, if he picks Mumsy, which I think he did do, if he picked Mumsy, yeah, then he did that in retaliation. It weren't because he was going to pick her in the first instance at all. He probably would have picked somebody else. But all I would say is, if you pick someone in retaliation to them picking you, then that's just a bitch made move in my books. It is an honest to God bitch made move. So you had 374 on the board, and 161 is Lorenzo. So then Cheney comes up, and I already knew she was going to pick Dr. V, and then lo and behold, up goes Dr. V, because she lifted up her glasses and she looked back. So you knew she was going to pick this dude, because she was looking at him, because she'd had enough of him, so she picked him. He was like, okay. But then I knew Dr. V would pick Cheney, because, you know, he's that bitch. At the end of the day, he's that bitch at the end of the day. And I don't say that in a good way either. I do not say that in a good way. He picked her as Lorenzo picked Mumsy. Retaliation. That doesn't work out for you. So there's 4 people on the board now. You've got 374, 161 Lorenzo, you've got Dr. V, and now you've got Cheney up on the board. And I was hoping nobody else would pick Cheney, because when people picked the same person that was already on the board, nobody else was added. So those people's still names stayed on the board, so they had to pick who was going to go next. So Lorenzo went up. And as he did, because he wanted it known to everybody, he was picking Mumsy. He walked right over to her to stand in front of her to get the number on her jacket. So she moved her hand open, and he said, yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I wasn't too sure which way the numbers went. So she told him what the number was, and then he went back down and went, and I thought, but you didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing, because you just did that in a retaliation move, and you just wasted your vote, which could have went on somebody else. It was just stupid. So then Mumsy was up on the board because Lorenzo chose her. I knew I knew Cheney and Mumsy was not going nowhere. Was not going nowhere at the end of the day. So then everybody else went and picked who they were going to go, and nobody else's number went up on the board. So we already kind of knew, right, okay, that's not gonna happen. So we get to, I think it was 141, and 141, he's the one who thinks Chinese is this almighty person, and he needs to bring it down, he needs to cut the head off the snake. So this man, I think, is kind of paranoid, very, very paranoid, and a backstabbing little shit, because he does vote for Chinese on there, but because Chinese already up there, it's not going to move. So he did vote for her at the end of the day. So the three people that were eliminated was 330, which was Dr. V, 161, which was Lorenzo, and 374. So Mumsy and Chinese, as I said, saved. So now there's only 70 players remaining. Okay, 70 players remaining. You can start to see that there's no excitement anymore as they see the big piggy bank starting to fill. No one's clapping, because at first everybody was like, yay, hella yay. But now it's leading into close relationships and friends that have been formed. Now they realise that that money computes them leaving the people that they actually didn't want to leave and wanted them to make it through or compete against or whatever have you. So the clapping and the exaltation for the money is starting to dwindle. So I'm like, okay, then here it comes. It's like, you know, people are starting to think about the consequences of their actions and what it actually means for them. So after that's all done and dusted and everybody's gone on their merry way and sitting down and just chatting, you see 141 who picked Cheney, he direct lined himself and was speaking to them and basically saying that, you know, he didn't pick Cheney, he picked I think he says he picked Dr. V. And Chinese says, well, from what I could see, it looked like you were typing in my numbers. And he was like, no, girl, I would never get rid of you. And I was sitting there, right, thinking, is this man for real? I thought, you know what, karma's going to come back and bite you in your ass, 141, for standing there and lying bold face in the woman's face like that, like you didn't type her number in. Everybody saw you type her number in. You even said you was going to type her number in. I was like, raw. I'm telling you, this type of environment and the fact of not wanting to lose against something and building in some paranoia gets the best of you, don't it? It really gets the best of you. So it gets to the next day, and now there's going to be a second dorm test as well. So you see 141 as he opens up, literally talking to a couple of the black girls in the bathroom and basically telling them that he'd voted for Cheney. I can't remember what Cheney's number was, that he'd voted for Cheney because she's forming an alliance and he doesn't like X, Y, and Z, and he was explaining his reasons. And my thing is my dude, you're chatting to 3 black girls, listen to you complain about a black woman. Do you not think that they're gonna have their fellow black woman's ass or back or whatever you want to call it? Do you not think that they will have loyalty in regards to her being a black woman, being black women themselves? I just thought, did he not, in his estimation, did he not think about that? Did he not think that this would not get back to her? Especially from one of the women that you're talking to. And it was from the woman that told you need to be careful on who you're chatting about in here and what you're saying in here. And she was the one that went back and told Cheney exactly what 141 was saying about her and exactly the fact that 141 was voted for her as well. Basically, then what further happens is Rick and Stephen basically get sent to the chore room. Well, Rick has to choose someone to go with him, so they get sent to the chore room, which is the kitchen. So they go to the chore room and they see 2 cards on the table. One's red and one's blue, and it's like they're both folded in envelopes. So Rick actually teaches Stephen the game of what to do and how to play it. So you throw the cards on top of each other and you have to flip it over so the envelope's showing and kind of win. So as they're doing this game now, they just think it's a fun game. They're not thinking of anything coming out from this. So then it stops, and then the voice speaks and basically tells Stephen that he lost the game. So they're literally on absolute tenterhooks thinking, oh my God, what have I done? And Rick is so apologetic, thinking he'd brought Stephen there and now he's going to get him eliminated over a little game. And I'm thinking to myself, do you not think that there should be a hint of suspicion, like, on who you take with you to do certain things? If someone says to you, you come to the chore room, pick someone to come to the chore room with you, knowing the game as you know the game, did you not think in your mind, hold on, if I take the person I really want to take with me and I get them eliminated, then that's going to be fucked up, because then it will be on my head that I got that person eliminated. But on the flip side, do I take someone with me that I wouldn't mind getting eliminated? So if they do, it ain't really going to bother me as such. Did Rick think that way? No. Straight off the hop, Stephen, you come with me. Didn't even think. I thought, dude, did you not realise where you was? Did you not realise where you was and how fucked up this game can be to people, that you didn't think? Like, not one thought came in his head to say, actually, let me strategize this very carefully. Not one damn thought came into his head. So, like, as I said, they're standing there worried as hell, because then a person in pink comes out and basically hands in something, and I'm thinking, is he handed him money? And then he realizes, no, it's a chocolate bar. So then they said, because you've won the game, you end up having a treat. So they then breathed a sigh of relief that it weren't nothing to do with no elimination, and then went back out basically, and then tried to make up their excuses of what they would tell everybody else. Let's put it this way, I didn't see Rick eat that piece of chocolate in the slightest, so if he did it covertly. Well, I would do it there, because they're all freaking like gadgets. If they'd have seen him with a chocolate bar, they would have been on him like a bunch of locusts, let's put it that way. So then you see Falasia and Ashley like talking, the ones to sit there and sit back and people watch everyone. And what they didn't like is how some of the men within the experiment that were left was starting to form solid groups with each other, but not necessarily forming any solid groups with the women in there as well. So they thought that dynamic was off. Now, the reason why that's key is because, let's put it this way, all I'm going to say is Falasia, in her picks, that's all I'm going to say, because it will come up in the next episode, was spot on. Like, she played it down the line strategically. That's all I can say. She made her reasons count as to why she did what she did. So after they've had their talk and that, because as I said, you see Falasia and Ashley in the changing rooms, and they're literally crying because they've left behind like the boyfriend, the girlfriends, and their children as well. And I'm thinking, it must be so hard. Again, I don't know how long these people stay in this show for, but it must be so hard having to leave everything from the outside world. Now, I mean everything from the outside world. You have no connection to nobody to win this money to try and change your family's life for the better. And that's what I'm saying. It's a mind trip, like an absolute mind trip, this whole freaking concept of this game. But people will constantly put themselves in situations that they know may not possibly be good for them. Makes great TV, but because it has a huge price tag on it, will do it. So is that essentially saying that people will do anything for the good price at the end of the day? So then what happens is, when they've gone back into the dorm, the people in pink come in again. Everybody's on high alert, because this is what is going to happen when the people in pink come in, because they're thinking nothing good comes from having these people come into the dorm all the time. So the other test happens. So basically they needed 5 volunteers. So they managed to get the 5, and Falasia put herself up there, and I was like, oh shit, please don't go, because Ashley's going to need you at the end of the day. So they bring out 6 Jack-in-the-Boxes. Now, the people had to literally choose out of the 6 Jack-in-the-Boxes which one they're going to stand behind at the end of the day. And then once they stood behind them, they explained to them that one of the Jack-in-the-Boxes will contain a surprise. So you could have the power to eliminate, you could have the power of an advantage in the next game, or they could be eliminated themselves. So when that was read out, especially the eliminated themselves, Felicia was like, shit, she didn't know what she did, and she literally broke down. And even Ashley was like, bitch, you put yourself up there. Why would you go and volunteer for a game in this place, knowing full well what they could possibly do? And if she went, she was gonna be angry because she'd been left there alone, because she Ashley didn't really form much relationships or connections with other people except for Felicia, and I think it was number 16 as well that she formed good relationships with, and that was it within that place, because she kept herself small and to herself basically. So this is where I'm going to end this episode, and I'll be back very soon with the next one. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos, and peace out my people.